Hello, everybody, and we are here for the new episodes of the third season of this webinar, and we will see here the SWOOD Design tips and tricks during this presentation. And I'm Emmanuel from EFICAD speaking. So just a quick overview of the coming webinars. So during these weeks, at the end of the weeks, we will also attend the SWOODCAM tips and tricks webinar. However, we will continue this webinar series. So we will communicate it in a few days to see all the other topics that we will see into these webinars. So here today in this presentation, we will see the WELDMENT and SWOOD, the SWOOD boxes and the connectors with different topics in this main subject. Just before starting this presentation, I just wanted to sum up what we have seen during the previous webinar of SWOOD Designs. So the main subject was the option to activate and how to customize the appearance and all the menu that we have into SWOOD and SOLIDWORKS. We have seen how to capitalize on projects, so how to build our own libraries and so on. We have seen how to create frame and curve projects and how we have to deal with this kind of project and how to start with this. We also have seen one of the new features of the SWOOD 2020, which is the panel manager, allowing us to work easily with other kind of CADs model from other solutions or with multi-body parts. And then we have quickly see how we can insert the CAM with the designs and what are the benefits of this methodology. So just as for this webinar, we will start then with the WELDMENT and SWOOD. So with the WELDMENT features into SOLIDWORKS, you will have the benefits to have sketch independence. So even if it's 2D or 3D sketches, all the different lines that you will have in these sketches will be independent. So you will be able to apply different profiles in the same functions. And you will also have some flexible corner management. So by this way, you will be able to create easily some designs and define also easily all your corners. And if you want to set, for example, that the top cover the side or the opposite, or if you want to have something into the MitoCut, and all these features can be used with the SWOOD features into the SWOOD boxes, SWOODFRAME, and SWOOD panel also. So, for example, for this specific designs, to show you how I build it, so I've started with my SWOODFRAME and with all the both side here, and then into the SWOOD boxes. I've created all my shelves, my metallic shelves, and then finally all the wheels. So you can see here that it's something which is compatible with the SWOOD features. So then after this few lines, we will see a short video. So we will see how to create this WELDMENT features with SWOOD. So to do that, you have to create different planes into your frame, and then into the assembly, you will insert a new component, a new part, in fact, and then you will edit these parts, and then you will create all your WELDMENT parts into this specific parts. And to do so, you will base your sketch on the different geometric references that you have into your assembly. And by this way, all your designs will evolve with the new dimensions of your assembly. So, for example, here we will start to create insert parts into the assembly level. Then we will select the plane where we want to apply our sketches. So, and into the parts level, so we have edited the parts. We are now creating all the different sketches for our designs. So then we constrain it onto the frame geometry. So by this way, it will create something parametric. It will evolve with the frame. And then we will go through the weldment features and the structural member. And then we can here select all the different profiles that we want to apply. And once we have selected the profile, we can then select all the groups of the different lines that we have to propagate this profile. And at this stage, we already have something parametrics. And you can see here into the weldment part that we have specific properties that we can also get for, we can pick up them and send it into the reports that we have into SWOOD, so we can get all this information that we have into these properties. And as you can see here, we have something which is fully parametric. So to create, for example, the previous design, you just have to reply this for all the different elements that you have in your 3D components. So as I said before, we have specific properties that we can pick up for the reports. And as you can see here, we have, we can pick up all these kind of properties and create this kind of reports easily. So that was it for the first part of this presentation. So now we will start with the SWOOD boxes, and into these topics we will see all the different copy, how to copy a SWOOD box, how to create it, how to rotate it, and how to manage additional bodies. So as for the creation, we will have two different way to do this. So we will be able to do it directly into the SWOOD data or in an outcoming folder. So in this short video, you will be able to see that we have into our library on the right. Sorry, I think. Oh, sorry, I think that's something up. So into the library on the right, you select your folder where you want to create the new SWOOD box, and then you right click and you select new SWOOD box. So by this way, you are creating a SWOOD boxes directly into the SWOOD data and into the webinar folder in these cases. The second way is to go through the new SolidWorks documents and to create, for example, the SWOOD boxes or something else, but in this case it will be the SWOOD boxes, and then you save it as into an outcoming folder. So for example, here it will be on my desktop with the outcoming folder, and as we have seen previously in the last presentation, we can create the link with this outcoming folder into our library, and as you can see here on the right, I've got now my SWOOD box, which was out of the SWOOD data. So that was the two different ways that we have to create the SWOOD boxes. So now we'll see how to copy a SWOOD box, because it's something which is available, so you can easily copy these SWOOD boxes only with a Control C and Control V key that you have on your keyboards, and with this shortcut, you will be able to do it easily. So now, as for the SWOODBOX rotation, we are able to rotate all the SWOOD boxes, and the benefit of this is that you will be able to adapt one design into a different situation and into different designs, and by this way you will also capitalize on your designs. And the things that you have to keep in mind is that when you will edit the SWOOD boxes and when you will want to rotate it, you will have all these different cubes with the blue face. And the thing that you have to keep in mind is when you will select this icon, it will move the blue face into the front face. Okay, so we'll see here a short example in the video here. So if I edit my shelves SWOOD box here, and I just change the shelf number to show you easily, we have the rotation tab here with all the different icons that we have seen. And as you can see here, the coordinate system was onto the bottom left corner. And if I select all the icons, you can see that it's clearly rotate, as I mentioned. So then, for example, you can easily create a SWOOD boxes of, for example, shells, and it could become, for example, SWOOD boxes of dividers quite easily with this rotation. So now we'll move to the SWOODBOX additional machined bodies. So as I mentioned during the best practices, the SWOODBOX will allow you to insert components, but it will also allow you to insert some material removal. So in this case, we have some drillings, and as you can see in the pictures on the bottom right, we have another box onto the left. And in this case, I want to propagate my machinings of in fact my shells onto this box onto the left. And to do so, we will go to edit again the SWOODBOX features of this shells. And then we will have the last tab, which is the additional machined bodies. And you can see that you have several faces highlighted. So here, as I want to mill the part which is on the left, I will select the cube with the blue face on the left. And then I will select the component I want to mill. Okay, so in this example, it's the right panel of the cube. And then once I've selected my panel and then I out of this edit features, you can see that it will propagate all the different millings that you have created into the shelves SWOOD boxes into the box on the left. So that's the way we use all the machined bodies into the SWOOD boxes. So that was it for the SWOOD boxes parts, and now we'll move to the connectors, and we will see all the different rules and the inserting modes that we have and all the different options that we have with the connectors. So before starting dealing with these topics, we will see that you have some useful options that you can activate, which are the dynamic references and the show features descriptions. So these features will allow you to see easily the parent and the child component that you have in your SOLIDWORKS 3. And you will be also, with the second one, you will be able to identify clearly all the different SWOOD boxes, connectors, edge bands, and so on. So it will give you more details for these features, and you will be able to identify them clearly into your SOLIDWORKS 3. So to do so, you have to right-click onto the main level of your assembly, and then for the dynamic references, they are on the top rectangular, which are the two which are grayed. And for the show feature descriptions, you right-click on it, you go into 3 display, and then you select show features description. So then let's start with the connector rules. So into SWOOD Designs, we have 2 main way to create some connectors and the rule of these connectors. So the first one, which is the component patterns, in which you will mainly manage the side offsets and the steps that you have for your pattern, and the compound item. Into the compound item, it's a bit different because you will have to manage all the different items that you have in this compound item, and you will be able to manage each location of each components and each activations and so on. So we can go a bit deeper in detail with this kind of way of working. So first, with the pattern rule, we will create, in fact, so the pattern, then the kind of repeated that we want to apply, then the rule, and then we will expose all the different settings that we want to manage in order to manage it while inserting all the different connectors. So in this short video here, you can see that we can easily create this new components pattern that I call the dowel pattern, because I will use a dowel. So then I'll find my simple elements that I wanted to pattern. So I just have to drag and drop this one into the right area here, and then I'm now able to start building my my rule. So now I'm just creating a new distance parameter that I exposed in order to manage it afterwards. And then once then I've created my my specific settings, we will then select the type repeated. That will allow us to choose in between different options, but one of the mainly used is the distributed and the minimum step. That's the one I've chosen. And then we are now able to start to build the scripts of this one. And with this kind of pattern, we will only manage the positive and the negative limits that we have into these connectors. So as you can see here, into the test mode, I've got my side offset settings that I've just created. And as you can see, if I change my value, it will be replied on the graphic area. So then I just have to expose the steps in order to manage it also. And if I go back to my test mode, it's now available. So now if I create some changes, it will be applied onto the graphic area. Okay. So that was the first way of working with the connectors, and the first kind of pattern that we can create. And now if we move to the compound rules, we can create compound elements, and the start is quite the same. So with a right click onto the webinar library, we will create a compound item. However, in this compound item, we will drag and drop as much component as we will need at the maximum. So I mean, at the maximum, I know that into my rule, I will need, for example, 3 eccentrics and 4 dowels. So that's why I'm dragging and dropping this all these different dowels and eccentrics into the right area. And then with the scripts, we will manage all the different elements, simple elements that we have here. So if we now have a look onto the script, as you can see here, we are able to manage all those activations, locations, and so on between different range of dimensions and so on. So we can create something really specific for your needs. And then if we go into the test mode, you can see that everything is now correct and it behave like as we want. Okay, so that's the second way of creating connectors. And in this way, we will go a bit deeper in details with all the different components that we can have in this compound rule. Okay, so now we have seen how to create connectors, and now we will see how to insert these connectors. So we also have two major way of working. So the first one is to drag and drop the connectors that we have into the library into our 3D models. So as you can see here, we drag and drop it onto the contact surface, and you can see that the location of the mouse also have an impact on the side of the connectors. And when you are happy with the result, you just have to unclick to your left button mouse. And as you can see here, if I change the look of the panel, all the different elements are well inserted with all the different removal material. So such as the SWOOD boxes, the connectors will insert all the different hardwares that you will need. So for example, in this case, the dowels and the eccentrics, but it will also create all the different material removal which are linked to these hardwares. And then the second way is to use the insert connectors between two components. So here I will start these features with the right click and the mouse with the mouse shortcut that you have. We have seen during the best practices presentation. Then you select all the different contact surface where you want to apply your connector, and you will select it into your library. And at this stage, you can see that you have both options that we have created during the connectors, and you can directly manage it here at this stage. And when we are happy with the results, we just have to validate it, and it will insert the connectors into all the different contact surfaces that we have selected. So once again, if I change the look of the panel, you can see that there is the connectors on all the different contact surfaces. So that was the two way of working that we have with the connectors. And if we now see deeper all the different options that we have with these connectors, we have, for instance, the extend and trim option that you have into the connectors features. So if we edit this connector features, we will see that For example, here into my back, I've got two separated panels, and if I want to apply one connectors on both panel, it's something which is available. So in the options, you have the extend and trim options, and you just have to select two different points, which will now define the new contact surfaces. And then to finish, you just have to select the additional body to machine also, because at first there isn't any link between the second panel and the connectors. So that's why you have to add this one to the add additional panel. And by this way, we have now creating a connectors, which is now defined on the full width of our frame and on two different panel. So that was one way with the extend and trim option. And the second one is that we can base the contact surfaces on a specific sketch. And to do so, as you can see here, I've already set the connectors onto my right panel here. And if now I edit the right panel, and then I go to the child features into the panel and I edit this one, you can see that you have two different selection options, so which are the faces and the sketches. And if you select the sketches, you can go now into the SWOODBOX 3 and select the sketch where you want to apply your connectors. And well, once you have selected these specific sketches, you can go out of this edit mode, and you can see that now our connectors has a new result with the new length of these contact surfaces. Well, just to continue with all the different options that we have, so we can also reverse all the different axes that we have with all the connectors. So with the drag and drop, we have seen that we can easily change this one with the mouse location. And here, if you also edit the features of the connectors, you have all these different checkbox allowing you to change the Z direction or the Y direction of your connectors. So for example, here at the beginning of the different eccentric was into inside, was looking inside, and now we have reversed the axis, the Y axis, to have it at the outside. So that's something which is still available, and we can edit at any moment. And if you want to do it with the drag and drop, so you have the location of the mouse regarding the contact surfaces, and you also have the tab key that you have on your keyboard, which will reverse the Y axis. Okay, so we will then move to the last part, which is how to manage connectors. So if you go through the insert connectors between two components features that you have into SWOOD Designs, you will select then all your different contact surfaces. And when you will insert all these connectors, you will have onto your SolidWorks 3 all the different features. So for example, at the bottom left, the connectors 1, 2, 3, and 4. And as you can see here, for the connectors 2 to 4, you have at the end a link with the first connectors. So you can see that the connectors 1 is written at the end of all the other one. And this means that the connector 1 is such as it has a master of the other one. So if you only modify the first connectors, here it will also apply all the different changes on all the other one. Okay. So that's what we will see here. So if then I right click and I edit my feature of the first connectors, and then I change the connectors, so I swap with a custom rule that we have also created before, and then I validate it, you will see that it will be propagated on all the different connectors. And you can already see it because it has changes the name of the connectors that you have into your SWOODBOX 3, and you can see here that you have now the custom rule everywhere. Okay, so that's the way we can easily change all the different connectors that we have into our designs. So, well, we are now at the end of this presentations. Do not hesitate to write me some questions into the questions area.